Let's make a snake game in Unity. This is an extreme explaining tutorial. Here is the snake game. Let's play. The user controls the snake with the keyboard. Each time the snake hits the apple, it grows in size. The snake must avoid to hit the walls and also to cross itself. The goal of the game is to get as large snake as possible. Okay, let's stop and go to Unity and make the game. We are inside Unity. In our sprites folder we have some images. Select the background. We see that it is 950 by 950 pixels. We also see that the pixels per unit is set to 50. That means that our background is 19 units wide and 19 units high. It also means that we should set the aspect ratio 1:1 and that the size of our camera should be 9.5 units. Let's drag the background to the hierarchy. Set its order in layer to -1. We want our snake to collide with the walls here. And we can do that by adding an edge collider to the background. Add component, edge collider 2D. Click on Edit Collider. Something like that. Let's add a tag. And this tag we will call obstacle. While we are at it, let's also add the tag food. Select now the background and tag it obstacle. Let's drag the snake to the hierarchy. The position right now is 0, 0. Let's put it 1 unit down. Rotate it also -90 degrees, so it points to the right. Let's change its color to dark green. And set the order in layer to 1. Now add a component, box collider 2D. And let's make it a little smaller. 0.9, 0.9, so it doesn't go to the edges and risk colliding with the segments. And we'll check is trigger. Since the snake moves, we shall add a rigid body 2D component. We'll make it kinematic. We also need a script for the snake, so go to the scripts folder, create C# script. Let's call it snake. Now drag the script to our snake game object. And let's focus on that script. We are going to use fixed update. We also want to catch collisions, so we will need onTriggerEnter2D. Let's now begin with start. We call the reset method. Let's implement it. We set the position to 0, -1, rotation to -90, direction to the right, but we need to declare the direction variable. And then we set the timescale to something small, so that our snake does not move too fast. Now in fixed update, let's call moveSnake. And in moveSnake, we take the current position and add the direction to it. And then we update the position. Then in the onTriggerEnter2D, we will get information of which object we collided with. So let's look if the tag of that object is obstacle. and in that case we stop the game. Play and test if this works. And as you can see, the snake moves, and when it collides with the wall, it stops. Go to the sprites folder and drag the food sprite to the hierarchy. Set it somewhere, for instance 2, 3. Let's tag it with food. Add box collider 2D, check is trigger. Now let's go to the snake script and add some user input in our update method. We call getUserInput. When the user presses the W key, the direction will be up, and the rotation 0. And also for the other keys. When S key, the direction will be down, and the rotation minus 180 degrees. And so on for the A key and the D key. Observe that the user can press the R key to reset the game and start again. We'll also need a script for our food. So let's go to the scripts folder and make a new script. Call it food. Add it to our food game object. And let's look at the code. We don't need update, but we do need onTriggerEnter 2D. And when the game starts, we want to call random position. And here is random position. We set x to a random integer between -8 and 8, and y a random integer between -8 and 6. And then we put our food object there. And in onTriggerEnter 2D, we also call the random position. Play it and see if it works. And as you can see, it works. Let's now add some segments to our snake. Go to Sprites. Take segment and drag it into the hierarchy. And we'll tag our segment obstacle. Let's make it light green. Add box collider 2D. Adjust the size 0.9, 0.9, and also add a rigid body 2D. Set it kinematic. We want to turn this segment into a prefab, so drag it into the prefab folder and delete it from the hierarchy. Let's now go to our snake script. We want to handle a list of segments, so let's begin by using system collections generic, so we can handle lists. And then we need a public game object reference to our segment prefab. And we need a list of segments. In reset, we have to reset the segments as well. Let's look at reset segments. We start by destroying all segments. Then we clear the list and add the snake head to that empty list. And then we want to add 3 segments to the snake head. And we'll do that in a loop, calling the grow method. Let's look at the grow method. It instantiates a segment and adds the segment on top of the segment in front of it. In our case, the 3 segments will be placed on top of the snake head. That's okay, because when we start to move the snake, all segments will roll out in a nice and orderly manner. Let's look at the place where we move the snake head, which is inside the fixed update method. Before we move the head, we want to move the segments by calling moveSegments method. Let's look at that method. Observe that the loop runs from the highest index to the lowest. That means that we start from the tail and move the last segment on top of the segment in front of it. This will roll out our snake in a nice and orderly manner. Now take a look at the collisions, because we need to add a segment when we collide with the food. We do that simply by calling the grow method. Let's save and compile the script. Now select the snake game object and you will see an empty slot where we can drag our segment prefab. Let's try this out by clicking on the play button. And as you can see, it works. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching.